everybody. We are going to recap OU Pro Day, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
What do you mean you don't subscribe to my son's YouTube channel?
Mama, no!
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
What's up, kidfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button, because I upload a video every single day. Ooh. It's always OU related, college football related, sports related. We have a good time, and I gotta fix the microphone before I do anything else. That's bothering me. It was off center. We gotta work on that. But OU Pro Day. So Kyler Murray showed up. Kyler Murray got weighed, did not get measured, and all of a sudden the 5'10" and an eighth is in question, even though they did it at the NFL Combine with NFL personnel. And all of a sudden, yo man, I don't know, maybe he shrunk 5 inches. Okay, whatever. I really don't care how tall Kyler Murray is. I just know that the dude was the best quarterback in football last year, and he's got the Heisman Trophy to prove it. And he's the first OU quarterback to beat Texas in a championship game. What more do you need to know on that front? I don't get it. But did we get to see him run a 40-yard dash? No. Did he say he was going to run the 40? He said he was going to run. Now, I took that to mean what everybody else took that to mean, which is that he's going to run the 40-yard dash. Really means he's just going to run around in the pocket and let Jim Zorn orchestrate his workout. Look, I've always said that I wouldn't let him run the 40-yard dash. I don't want him to pop a hammy trying to impress y'all so that y'all can get a number down. I understand the want to see what that number would be, but I know what Kyler Murray and his people know, which is that your imagination is always going to be bigger than any number he could lay down. Ask Lamar Jackson about that. He didn't run the 40-yard dash. Everybody knows that man is fast. Matter of fact, Baltimore built the offense around his speed. That's how fast he is. Kyler Murray can throw the ball in a way that Lamar Jackson cannot, so you have options there. Did you get to see him bench? No. Did you see him do any of the skill testing? No. And he ain't a monkey at a zoo, okay? This is not a trained bear. He's not out here dancing and riding on unicycles. He's going to do whatever his doggone well pleases. I don't understand why that's so difficult for people to latch onto, all right? If they're going to pay you to show up and throw the ball, then just show up and throw the ball. Don't do any more than anybody wants you to do, especially in this game of football where the labor is at a distinct disadvantage. I applaud Kyler Murray for just playing us all, because that's what he's been doing. He's been playing us all. And you had nearly 100 people show up that were credentialed for this event so that they could see him do all of this stuff, and he ends up going, nah, I'm going to use this as subterfuge to get y'all in the building, one, to watch my boys, and two, to watch me throw the ball. Now, who did he throw the ball to? That's of note. Jarvis Baxter, OU Sooner. Geneo Lewis, OU Sooner. Joel Blumenthal, who I'll get to in a minute, Southwestern Oklahoma State quarterback, also really, really fast. Carson Meier, OU Sooner, and curiously, Charleston Rambo. Now, this is interesting if for no other reason than this is the kind of information that patrons on RJ Young Patron page kind of invest in me to go figure out. It's one of the reasons that I was able to get the job at 247. Look, 2 years ago, the American Football Coach Association and NFL came up with some workarounds so that underclassmen could participate in Pro Day. Up to 5, and you could petition for more if you want to, for guys that are going to be eligible for the NFL draft next year. Charleston Rambo is a redshirt freshman, which means that he's spent 1 and 2 and will be eligible for the NFL draft next year. So he could be out there catching passes. Now, the question would be, why isn't CD out there? Well, I don't know, man. I mean, Lincoln Riley makes that decision. But it's fuel for the fire that people believe Charleston Rambo is next when we're talking about the guy who is going to be a successor for Hollywood Brown. I tend to believe the same thing now. I wasn't necessarily on board until they threw him out there for Pro Day. It means that Kyler trusts him, number one, and then the university at large trusts him to not make a fool of them on national TV, because this was on NFL Network, it was on ESPN, it was live. Charleston Rambo acquitted himself well, showed his speed, was able to catch some balls. Jeff Badette is a believer in Charleston Rambo too, and I think that's interesting to note. Let's take a listen to what Jeff had to say about Rambo. Rambo was a dude that had a really big Orange Bowl, especially with Marquise being hurt, but I remember him missing that throwback that Basquin put on his hands, and I was like, yo, this is why we don't see Charleston no more. It's like, he didn't come down with that ball.
Was the first play, though. That was the first play, though, man. He really had to get that out of his system. That was the type of guy Rambo is, man. That pass just woke him up, and he already knew that he had to keep working hard for him to get back on the field. And you know what I'm saying, he was waiting his turn. I know I was a big believer in Rambo when he came in his freshman year.
So that's the Rambo storyline that will evolve as spring game. So that's the Rambo storyline that will evolve as the spring game gets closer and we get closer to Houston on August 31st. The next thing of note is that Rodney Anderson and the skilled players, for the most part, didn't do much, but Curtis Bolton did. Curtis Bolton ran 4.53 in the 40-yard dash, had a great broad jump, put up 18 reps on bench, acquitted himself well. I think Curtis Bolton could fit into that Jordan Evans mold of a guy that could work himself onto a roster and end up getting paid. We all know that for some people, he was the critics' pick for the best defensive player on the team last year. And that's a really big deal because nobody was expecting Curtis Bolton to do much of anything, and then he snuck up and earned a job from five-star linebacker Caleb Kelly, put Caleb Kelly on the bench because he was so good. The other guy that made himself some money was Joel Blumenthal, Southwestern Oklahoma State quarterback. Yeah, coming out there to play some wideout. Ran 4.5 in the 40-yard dash, was the fastest 40 out there today. I'm really, really impressed with that guy and the way that he was able to catch passes. I hope that he has an opportunity to make a team, and kudos to Oklahoma for allowing him to participate in their pro day on the national stage that this was. I mean, you had Tim Hasselbeck in the house, Todd McShay in the house. Marty Smith was cozied up next to Jalen Hurts, who looked kind of like an assistant coach with that hat on and that polo sweater. I was faked out for a second, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's going to be the next quarterback at Oklahoma. Cool. Man, that was weird to see, but that dude is also grown. That's what that really says to you. But all in all, this was a pretty good event for the guys that participated, but it was a monster event for the University of Oklahoma, which would get me back on my pedestal about labor law and paying guys what they're worth and all of this publicity that's coming to the University of Oklahoma and all these credential media members in the Everest Training Center. But I won't do that. I will just say I'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. on the dot. Doses.